let's just first start by addressing the elephant in the room since it's very recent. Ranbir Kapoor's weird interview from last week. If you just listen to his words, he says, I dated two huge movie stars and I've been called a cheater, and that's not entirely true. Okay, so you're saying it's true. And not to mention, in the past, he has admitted to cheating, right? He's admitted to cheating on girlfriends, and including Deepika. His dad has been very open that he's been a cheater. He's been on Coffee with Karan saying that he's talked to other girls while having a girlfriend and stuff. This interview just really did him no favors anyways. I don't really understand where he felt like it was a good idea to sit and say how his wife's tone has changed and she's changed more than him.
We used to go out at night, he's like, wipe that off. Wipe that off, because he loves the...
All of this can be true, and maybe it is fine. One of the teacups, one of you guys, Hot Chai listeners, left me a note earlier and said, please tell me you're discussing his latest interview. Ranbir Kapoor goes on this interview and he's retelling the story of how he and Alia met. This one is about how he and Alia got to sit together for their flight for the beginning kind of shootings of Brahmastra. What story is it? So this, because in some interviews, they like to bring up, I met him when I was 9 years old. It's like, you guys stop telling that story. At other times, they say, oh, she's shooting Student of the Year, and he was sitting behind the scenes, and he was telling people, like, yeah, should I marry her? One day I'm going to marry her, which, like, she was, like, 17 when she was shooting that. Like, I don't know if it's the best story. But okay, let's give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that this Brahmastra flight was really when they were like able to talk, because he's like, by the end of the flight, we're already planning out, our future and our grandkids. It's the cynic in me. But I want to call a little bit of attention to it because Alia was friends with Katrina Kaif when she was dating Ranbir Kapoor. When Katrina was dating Ranbir Kapoor, let's just be real. Alia goes around for years and years publicly saying how she loves Ranbir Kapoor and she wants to marry him and he's the cutest and he's the hottest. And it's like, okay. Then you go and befriend, you become BFFs with his girlfriend. Like, it's all ancient history, all of this. Okay, but they're the ones bringing it up. Stop telling the stories. We don't want to hear the stories. It's even worse. You're going and saying, like, immediately when they broke up, suddenly you have this very deep connection with your friend's ex. Like, can we all admit, like, we would hate that and, like, that would not fly and that's a no-fly zone? I don't know. It happens. It does happen.
I have a very hot cup of chai to serve. Aishwarya Rai Bachchan showed up to the Ambani ceremony and reception days with Aradhya alongside her. But that's not the tea. She arrived and was photographed separately from the Bachchans. Literally all of the Bachchans. Even Shweta's estranged husband was there. Of course, leave it to this world that even this woman, this powerhouse, Aishwarya Rai, gets stuck in the same marriage, in-laws, trash husband dynamics that's so relatable to so many Indian people. There have been whispers that Aishwarya and Aradhya live separately, and Abhishek still lives at home with his family. Like, it takes some serious chutzpah to be like, yeah, I'm going to show up to the biggest event of the year, biggest social event of the year, and I'm going to come separate from my husband, and I want you all to know about it. And claps, claps, snaps, snaps. I am proud of her for it.
There's a rumor spreading like wildfire right now. I am discussing the new cheating rumors around Aishwarya Rai and Abhishek Bachchan. This one's a doozy. My take might surprise you, so let's just get into it. There was like a Reddit post very recently. I will say this was my second time seeing this rumor because I saw this rumor maybe 6 months ago. And again, what is the rumor? The rumor is that Abhishek Bachchan has cheated on Aishwarya Rai maybe 2 years ago with actress Nimrat Kaur. And where's this coming from? What's this backstory? So Abhishek and Nimrat, they worked on a film called Dasvi back in 2022. And you may be wondering, What are you even talking about? Well, it got 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's probably for the best that you don't even know what I'm talking about. Nimrat Kaur, if you don't know her, really, she was in this movie, The Lunchbox, and she was in a movie called Airlift with Akshay Kumar. And on that, I guess people were linking her to Akshay Kumar during that filming time around 2018, 2019. Yes, I feel like that happens with all of Akshay Kumar's co-stars. Not really sure, what to make of it. But I feel like that's maybe what gave this rumor legs, is like, oh, she's done this before. So aside from that, and aside from a couple people writing on Reddit, I have to be honest, I'm not really seeing any real evidence. Abhishek, doing press for this movie Dusty when it came out a couple years ago, and he's sitting with Nimrat Kaur and he's talking about Aishwarya Rai, but let me be crystal clear, that is not a smoking gun for people who were like, oh, he wouldn't be talking about her if he were cheating on her. And I know what some of you are thinking, like, oh, who could cheat on Aishwarya Rai? Like, especially Abhishek Bachchan. Like, he's so lucky to have her, right? Let me give you teacups a very harsh reality check, okay? Hot girls get cheated on too. Breaking news. And sometimes, especially if the guy is less hot than the girl, because maybe he's feeling insecure in the relationship, or suddenly he's getting a lot of attention because everyone's like, ooh, if she likes him, then he must be great, right? So let's just put that out there. Beyonce, Shakira, Deepika, Katrina, it happens to the best of us. It happens to the worst of us. So beware. But on this topic, again, there's not really any hard evidence from what I've seen. If I'm wrong, or if you have something, or if you want to write in some blinds, of course, feel free, and I will maybe change my tune. She's doing promotions for Jigra, which is coming out in, I think, a week or so. And Vasan Bala, Vidang Reina, they're all sitting together.
Stream of consciousness thought, sent it to Karan. And I think 6-7 hours later, he called saying, I've already sent it to Alia. And I was really not happy with it.
In my memory, we met first. You told me and I told you. And because I remember we were talking about some javelin throw.
Yes.
Something.
No, we met after that email. After you read that email.
Okay.
So Karan.
Alia is saying, oh, you wanted to cast me in this movie. And so we met and then you sent me the script. And Vasan Bala, he kind of comes out and he does say, well, actually, no. I was talking about working with Karan Johar. And I sent him a loose script idea. And then he told me he forwarded that to you. And I was very unhappy with him. And he says well, the script wasn't polished, it wasn't ready. But it does go to show you he wasn't excited necessarily. And maybe that's not who he had in mind. But Karan Johar pitched it to Alia very quickly. And then she actually came on as a co-producer. And I think it reminded not just me, but many other people of other times where maybe roles have been curated. So for Highway, Alia's second film, Imtiaz Ali has actually gone on record and said Aishwarya Rai was his first choice for the film. He pictured her barefaced, he pictured the role written for an older housewife, goes through what happens in the movie. And instead, Alia and Karan Johar started lobbying for the role. And so then he's like, okay, I could see it. And so they kind of tweaked the script a little bit to be this younger role and suit Alia more. This has also happened for Dear Zindagi, where the director initially saw someone in their 30s, who's kind of gone through some stuff, struggling with the stuff that she went through in her childhood. Alia and Karan Johar, they really wanted her to have this role. And so thus the role was kind of made for someone more in their 20s who actually hadn't gone through too much, if you have seen Dear Zindagi. I had seen some press that said Kalank was supposed to go to Deepika Padukone and it was written for her. And some people said that's just Deepika's PR kind of getting in the mix and trying to steal thunder. But the thing that backs that up is that the director for Kalank said that Alia was not the first choice. And so she had to lobby him hard. And she has gone on record and said this too. Oh, I called him up. I was begging him. I needed to be a part of this film, right? And Karan Johar was a producer on that film. So I'm sure there is this amount of weight that's given to that choice. Ultimately, Kalank was a huge flop, but when you have that kind of support in the industry, and this goes back to that interview Aishwarya Rai gave where she said, Alia has been lucky enough to have this kind of support and these roles are handed to her on a silver platter. Like I've said many times, I am a fan of her work and I have appreciated her performances, and I think she has stepped up in a way, she put her heart and soul in Highway and with the Punjab, she did a great job in Dear Zindagi. And so you appreciate how she's played these roles. You've appreciated these films, but then you're like, well, I didn't really have another choice. Sometimes the argument that's said is, well, who else is there? but you don't know who else is in there because you're not debuting any new actresses. You're not finding these girls who are in film school or have this kind of aura or presence that you might notice from the street, right? That's how you kind of find a movie star or a model, even at an audition or at a go see, or in a mall. I guess a way to summarize it is that, like, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know who we're missing out on.
Listen up, it's jazz.